What is up, everybody? This is Lyle with No Hippie Barbecue. What I'm going to be doing today is we're going to be oven roasting a turkey. This is going to be a little bit different than what I normally do. We're going to be cooking it at a little bit of a lower temperature, and by a lower temperature I mean 325 degrees. If you've watched any of my other turkey videos, you know that I'm a fan of the high temperature turkey method. Anyway, what we're going to be doing with this turkey is we're going to be brining it and injecting it. The injection we're going to be using is this Chachere's injectable marinade. This one happens to be jalapeno butter. Gotta have some spice going on in this turkey. Let me set this aside. As far as the seasoning goes, tomorrow we're going to be adding some of this Mr. Pete's Cajun seasoning to it. A lot of times I will not use these type of seasonings on my turkey because I'm cooking in that 450 range on my turkey. So since we're going at a lower temperature, boom, figure we're going to go ahead and hit it with that. The brine. So listen, every Thanksgiving or the day before Thanksgiving I have people asking me for a specific recipe on a brine. Let me tell you something, there's really no need for a specific recipe, number one. And number two, I kind of use what I have around the house. To me, it just doesn't make sense to go out and spend $14 to make a brine to cook a, $17 turkey. It just does not make sense. So if you want, you can go out and buy all the fresh thyme, rosemary, sage, all that. We're just going with what we have. Anyway, a basic brine, which is fine enough for a turkey, is going to be generally 2 cups of sugar. I happen to be using brown sugar. And then 1 cup of kosher salt. And then water. What I'm going to be using as a liquid in this is we have some apple juice and we're going to be using some water. But what I'm going to do first is we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of water to this, and we're going to add about a quart of water to it. And we're going to be bringing this up to a boil once we add our other ingredients. I'm going to have you guys come on in and take a look at these other ingredients so you can see just how simple this brine is. So far what we've added to this is just fine enough to brine a turkey. You really don't need to do much more than that, other than add a little bit of water once we're done kind of throwing this on the stove for a bit. Some of the additional ingredients I'm going to be using, this was a seasoned salt that I just needed to get rid of that was in my cabinets. We're going to go ahead and add that in. And I have some coriander seeds. Those things need to go. Really haven't been using those lately. Let's just throw those in. And this could be just anything. This is some rosemary I have laying around. Really don't need that. Let's go ahead and throw that in as well. And as far as the fresh vegetables and stuff that we have, boom, I have some ghost peppers. And what I've done with these ghost peppers, and obviously this is optional, is I have kind of cut these ghost peppers into, into little slivers, just so it can get all that heat up in there. So I have 3 ghost peppers. I have about 3/4 of an onion. This celery is the end of the celery that would typically get thrown out a lot of times by people if they weren't making a stock. I have about 6 cloves of garlic that I've peeled and I just smashed them. A couple bay leaves. And this is about 3 carrots, and we have those chopped. So we're just going to go ahead and throw these in. And I'm going to give it a good stir right quick. Make sure, and you know what, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more water to it. And we're going to take this to the stove. I'm going to bring it to a simmer. I'm going to let it simmer for about, I have time. I'm going to go ahead and let this simmer for about 10 minutes. Now, I'm going to have a chance to let this brine, or this turkey brine, for about 23 hours. If you don't have that much time, if you can get just 12 good hours on it, and your brine has enough flavor in it, you should be good to go. So, I'm going to get this on the stove, bring it up to a boil, bring it up to a boil, lower it to a simmer, let it go 10 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to break out my turkey and get all the insides out and rinsed off and ready to go in this brine. At this point, what I've done is let this brine cook for about 10 minutes. I let it cool down for about 30 minutes, added a little bit of ice to it, Now what we're going to do is cool it down a little bit more with some ice. And instead of adding more water to it, I'm going to go ahead and add some more apple juice. Now other things that you can add to this brine, if you're not using apple juice, would be, you know, if you quartered up some apples, some, hell, pears, oranges, just anything that has the flavors that you like. Like I said, I think a lot of times people overthink these brines. Really, it's just trying to impart flavor into the turkey. There doesn't need to be a specific brine. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a good stir. Now one thing that I don't use, or haven't really used, this is the first time I've used this, is this Ziploc brining bag. I got this at Walmart. I think, it was pretty expensive for about 5 of these, but you know what? Let's go ahead and use this. I'm going to go ahead and throw this in my trusty Home Depot bucket. You could use a cooler. You could use whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. So here's what we're going to do. Now the turkey I have is just under 13 pounds. Now, if you take a look at this turkey, you see a lot of fat that's hanging from the tail. We're not going to worry about this now. We will be trimming this up a little bit down the road once we're done brining this, before we actually season it and do all that. Alright, so we got our brine here. We're going to pour this on top of our turkey. Make sure all that goodness is in there. Now this isn't quite covering the turkey all the way, so we are going to go ahead and hit it with some water. And that basically covered it right there. We're going to go ahead and stir this up just a little bit more. Now this happens to be a Ziploc brining bag, so we're going to go ahead and zip this up. And I already have a bag of ice that we're going to throw on top of this. And I'm going to be setting this outside. It's about 30 degrees out there, so we should be good to go as far as the temperature goes. Anyway, this is going to have a chance to brine for about 20 hours before I get it in the oven. So we're going to pick this up tomorrow when this is done being rinsed off and we're ready to get the seasoning added. Now that this turkey's had a chance to brine for about 21 hours, we're going to go ahead and inject it up. You can make your own injection. I have a turkey video where I made my own injection, or you can use this Tony Chachere's. I'm telling you, this stuff right here is the bomb. Like I said, this is the jalapeno butter. And if you have a Walmart near you, these things are only like $3.45. A lot of places you'll see them, they're like $5 and $6. So just something to keep in the back of your mind. All right. And one of the good things about it comes with its own injector. So we're just going to inject this up. We're going to kind of hit it throughout the entire turkey. I'm going to do everything except for the wings on this turkey. I will get the drumsticks. And this turkey looks like it has done a good job at accepting that brine, because I'm not going to be able to get more than about half of this bottle of injection in, which is fine. You know, just put in as much as the turkey's going to accept. You could just let it sit for a while, let some of that go in, and then hit it with some more. But I think we're good with all the flavor we have in it. One thing I didn't mention is that we did go ahead and trim off any obvious fat that was on this and excess skin that was on the turkey. And I think that is about all the injection I'm going to do. Get this last little squirt in. Now I'm going to go ahead and stuff it with our vegetables. I have carrots in the refrigerator, but you know, we're just going to go with celery, apples, and red onions. Go with whatever you want. It's going to pick up a little hint of this flavor. I wouldn't spend a whole bunch of money on stuffing your turkey with, you know, I wouldn't go out and buy specific vegetables to stuff your turkey with. Alright, looks like that's about all I'm going to get in here. And I'm going to go ahead and wipe down, get this excess injection that's on the turkey, get that off. And I'm going to get some butcher twine, and I'm going to go ahead and I am going to get these legs tied together. Now, a lot of times, if you've seen any of my other turkey videos, you won't see me tying my legs together. That's typically because I'm cooking at you know, that 450 degree range, and that's not suggested if you're cooking at that temperature. So since we're going in that 325, 335 area, we're going to go ahead and tie these legs up. Let's go ahead and get this rubbed down with this peanut oil. Canola oil would work good with this. I often will just go ahead and use cooking spray, but we will be getting to some cooking spray here in a little bit. Alright, now we're going to be hitting it with some of this Mr. Pete's Cajun seasoning. We're just going to go over it. We're not going to go over it super heavy. Alright, that's a nice even coat right there. Not too heavy, not too light. I'm going to let this chill out a little bit while this stove comes up to 325 degrees. Then we'll get cooking. One thing that I almost forgot, which is a very important step, is once you have your seasoning on, especially if you're using more of an herb seasoning like I typically use, something kind of similar to an Italian seasoning is kind of what I normally use. Is more important on that. But hit it with a little bit of canola spray. And that kind of, to me, it seems to set your seasonings on there. And it's going to help you get that nice golden brown. I'm going to throw it in. We're going to cook this until we get to about 170 degrees. I just go with the 170 degrees as just a rule of thumb. 165 is about average. You know, for breast, and then, you know, 170 kind of in the dark meat, but I've just figured an overall temperature of 170 has always got me where I need to go. Anyway, we'll check on this turkey in about an hour and a half. We're about 2 hours in on this, and normally I'd be pulling my turkey off about now, since I would usually be going at about 425, 450 degrees. The wingtips and legs were getting a little dark, so I went ahead and foiled them up. As far as the color goes, I'm not 100% happy with that color. I think that my traditional seasoning that I would be using gave my turkeys a little bit better or more consistent appearance. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let this go to we're at 170 degrees. Right now, we're at about 152 degrees. So we just hit 170 degrees. I'm going to let it go ahead and cool down for about 20 minutes before we slice into it. We've let this turkey rest 20 minutes. We're about to get into this turkey. I'm going to be comparing this against my normal hot and fast turkey. See what I think about the differences. So I'm just going to come into this breast. This is definitely moist. I bet you could almost wring it out. So, you do get a little bit of that heat. So if you're a heat fan, you know that Tony Chachere's jalapeno, definitely good to go. I'm not sure if the heat's coming from that or the ghost peppers that I put in there earlier in the brine. You definitely get the ghost pepper flavor. If any of you guys have ate ghost peppers before, you know there's that kind of almost a smoky flavor they have. You know, cook time on this, instead of being in that 2-hour range, we were, you know, right at 3 hours, maybe a little bit over 3 hours. It's got excellent flavor though. I could sit here and eat this thing, eat even more of this. Let's get into this turkey leg right quick. That is awesome. I do prefer my hot and fast turkeys. I think the appearance is a little bit more, you know, consistent on those. But I would not be ashamed to serve this on Thanksgiving at all. Great flavor. Anyway, thanks for stopping by No Hippie Barbecue. I appreciate it. Check out some of them other turkey videos that are going to be in the description below and the iCard. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.